The value of debriefing after an argument. Hey everyone, Steve from Dr. Brown's Life Coaching. And this concept, let me give you a story. For those that don't know, I am a pharmacist by trade. Before I was doing this work, the work that I was doing was pharmacy, and I still do it. And I work in a hospital setting. And about 10 years ago, when I worked in the hospital setting that I'm currently with, I was working in the emergency room department. And we were at that time trying to improve the process of our code blues. And, for those that don't know what that is, it's when, and I'm just going to keep it very simple. It's more complex to this, but basically when a person's heart rate stops, we will call a code blue. Again, if you're in the medical field, there's a little bit more to that. But basically we will call a code blue overhead, and a medical team will come in, and everybody has their own roles that they will do. And in this system, what we were doing was after the patient was stabilized, we would debrief. We would go over the situation, kind of talk about things that we noticed, things that we could have done better, give feedback to each other. And what this allowed was to allow us as a team to become more efficient and work better. And this is the type of mindset you should have in your marriage. My wife and I, my mindset, anytime she and I have a disagreement, I don't let it go. Like within that night or within 24 hours, we're going to talk about it. And because I've learned that the more you allow yourself to not heal and not talk things through and just kind of push things off, it's going to be bad situation for you. And especially if your wife consistently brings stuff up, you kind of blow it off, you get angry, you're too scared to even bring up the topic again. What that's going to cause is going to cause resentment. And, your wives are amazing. They will listen to you, and vice versa. Husbands are amazing. They will listen to their wives. But it will get to a point that if that one person in the party doesn't feel heard, they will stop speaking. And if it's regarding your wife, that's like the worst thing in the world that can happen. So what I've learned is to always make it a habit to debrief, anytime we have an argument. Because when we have an argument, what that is a breakdown in the system that we had. And we recently had a disagreement, and it blew up. We rarely have disagreements, but look, I'm being real on this camera. We're real, we're human. We argue, even though my wife and I does this work with relationships, with couples, myself with individuals, we fall short. And one thing I realized was babe, I noticed this pattern that we keep on getting into, and talking it out. What I realized was what was triggering me in the argument was something a story I was creating in my head that wasn't real, and vice versa. My wife, what she was hearing from me wasn't exactly what I was saying, and it led to this blow up. And we then end up telling each other, how can we do this differently in the future so that we don't run into this hiccup? And we came up with a game plan. And this is what relationships are about. For men, typically, it's very hard for us to talk about our feelings, talk about problems, especially when there's a hiccup in our relationship. We tend to kind of withdraw, and that is the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do for the sake of your marriage, if you really want to have that spark back, that intimacy back in your relationship, you want to get into this habit that every time you get into a disagreement, debrief. Don't let 24 hours go by. Talk about it. Create ground rules. When your emotions are stabilized, you can think things through. Come up with a game plan of how you guys can have conversations without leading into arguments, and come up with the ground rules. For us, we tell each other we can't insult each other, be disrespectful towards each other, allow one person to talk completely before the other person intervenes. So, setting up these ground rules when you're calm is going to help you. So the big point of this story, the one activity that can help you in your relationship is to debrief. And men, your mindset is that if you ever get into disagreement with your wife, it is your job by that night to talk it over and come up with a resolution, and you will be amazed how much smoother your relationship will be. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.